You know what the chief used to say back in the day when the Pittsburgh Steelers were actually one of the worst franchises in the NFL? He used to say SOS, same old Steelers. And depending on where you stand with Mike Tomlin, because this fan base is so divided when it comes to Mike Tomlin. You have Steeler fans that just adore this guy and give him a pass for everything. They never blame him. They never hold him accountable for stuff. And then you have people that just despise this guy and want him fired after literally every single game. And this video right here is a perfect example of where I stand personally with Mike Tomlin. I'm right in the middle with him. What is going on, everybody? Good Monday morning to you. I am Mac, and I am back with another video. This is my overreaction for the Pittsburgh Steelers following Sunday's absolutely humiliating loss at home, 30-7, to the San Francisco 49ers. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the description below. You know, I really don't know if you want to consider me late to the party or if you want to say, you know, you're out of your mind. But regardless of what you think about this video, this has to be said. Because the one common denominator of all this, it has to do with the head coach. You had 8 months to prepare for this game. And you've had at least 4 months to prepare for this game when the schedule got released. And you knew what you were going up against. Now, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from San Francisco. They came in and they just dominated us from start to finish. There's no denying that. But what I'm saying is that what I saw yesterday, I saw just overall a premier Super Bowl contender, an elite team in the NFL, come into another team's stadium and just beat up on a bad team. Okay? This team, it makes you wonder, you know, how this team brings in a new GM in Omar Khan. He makes all these moves in the offseason. The Steelers have a gaping wound coming into 2023. What are we going to do about the O-line? How are we going to be able to protect Kenny Pickett? How are we going to open up holes so that Najee Harris can finally get his career started? Or, you know, get his career improved, I should say. How are we going to have Jalen Warren come on the scene? Are we going to utilize Anthony McFarland? How are we going to fix, you know, the defense? You look at our defensive backs. We need to fix up the pass defense. We need someone opposite of Minkah Fitzpatrick. We need a corner. Omar Khan comes in, brings in a veteran like Patrick Peterson. Drafts Peasy Jr. In the first round of the draft, he trades up with the Patriots to get Broderick Jones at 14. Brings in Isaac Seumalo at left guard. One of the best guards in the entire league. And he was a main catalyst on Philly's offense. So it's like, you know, even midway through last year, the trade that we had with Chicago, we send them Chase Claypool. And pretty much we got Peasy Jr. out of that, like I said. Now we bring in Desmond King, who, prior to this video, this is the only time that I mentioned Desmond King's name since he came to Pittsburgh. The only time. We didn't even see him. I didn't even call Calvin Austin's name all day yesterday until the third quarter when he started getting some targets. And he had a punt return. So it's like, how do you upgrade at every position that you possibly needed, with inside linebacker too, bringing in Quan Alexander. Nick Herbig was a great pickup. Keanu Benton, great draft pick as well. So my main point is, how do you upgrade, bring in all these new faces, and make your team better, and the results are the same week after week after week after week when we're going up against elite competition? You can pin it on the play calling all you want, and I'm not denying it. Matt Canada is a horrendous play caller because it was more of the same yesterday's game. Run, pass, pass, run. Same old plays every single time. Not even trying to utilize Calvin Austin to his abilities. Not even trying to utilize Anthony McFarland in your scheme. They're useless. So yes, there's no denying that Matt Canada is a trash play caller, and he absolutely needs to get out of here ASAP. There's absolutely no denying that Kenny Pickett played a terrible game yesterday. I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, I'm not holding this guy's hand anymore. I'm not holding his baby hands anymore, okay? I'm not giving him the training wheel routine anymore. He's a second-year starter. He's had more than enough time to build up experience. And what I saw from him yesterday was pitiful. He looked more like a rookie yesterday than he did all of last year. Forcing passes into coverage, throwing behind receivers, unnecessary sacks, wandering around. And those 2 interceptions were absolutely on him. You cannot deny that. Where he had a late read, threw it right to Tre'Davious Ward. And granted, the second pass was tipped and picked off as well. But guess what? He still tried to throw it into traffic. And he should have had another one because it was another late read, and he was fortunate enough that the 49ers dropped it. I don't remember who it was, but he was fortunate that it was a drop pick. He should have had 3 picks yesterday. So there's no denying Kenny Pickett, outside of that 2-minute drill that he had to close out the first half to put us on the board, he played terrible yesterday. Deontay Johnson once again stinking up the joint. Hopefully his injury's not too bad. He busted up his hamstring. Hopefully it's not too bad. But at this point, I really don't see how the receiving corps can be any different without Deontay Johnson, or it can be any better with him, regardless if he's in the equation or not. But the main point of all this, you have all these other things that play in, and they're taking place on the field. You want to know what it's a result of? It's a result of coaching. And Mike Tomlin has gone stale. That is the whole point of everything in this video right here. It absolutely has to do with coaching. With trying to tire out the defense. It doesn't work. When you are giving your running backs 9 total carries the entire game, not even trying to keep them on their toes, not even trying to get creative with your play calls, that's on coaching. When you play the same soft zone defense the entire game, which is what the Steelers did from the very moment the 49ers took the field for the first time yesterday afternoon, we were playing soft zone defense left and right against these guys. And Mike Tomlin, you think for a guy who has a good defensive-minded ability, and he calls all the shots on defense, you'd think that he'd be able to come up with some kind of scheme and put his best guys on their weakest guys instead of just, playing this soft zone crap, because there was no pressure yesterday outside of TJ Watt and at times Landon Roberts. Those are the only 2 guys on the entire field yesterday on either end that did anything for us. That's a reflection of coaching. and no Steeler fan being honest with themselves, regardless of how you feel about Tomlin, every Tomlin Tuesday this guy has, you should not take what he says seriously anymore. You really shouldn't, because it's the same thing. We all know what it's going to be. He's going to throw around a bunch of big words like he always likes to do. He's going to say some nonsensical bullshit like, well, you got to focus more on the schematics and how the continuity that this team has, and the standard is the standard, and we don't live in our fears, and blah blah blah. I'm like, shut up, Mike. Because at the end of the day, a Mike Tomlin based team, his ceiling is 9 wins. And that's what we've come to accept. And it's unacceptable. We should not be content with 9 wins. These are the Steelers, damn it. You see that banner that I have behind in the background? What's it say? Super Bowl champions. Not 9-8 champions. And this team is soft and stale. Like I always say, a team in any sport always takes on the persona of their head coach and their manager. And the Steelers cannot go up against elite competition because Mike Tomlin has been exposed. You can't rely on the fact that you have the aura that you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're this untouchable franchise, because now teams know what Mike Tomlin's all about, because he can't coast on never having a losing season, and he doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback anymore. Look what he's doing now with his own team. The team itself is growing. And if you want to chop it down to growing pains, hey, I don't disagree with you. But at the end of the day, all these problems go around with Mike Tomlin. We should not have to keep coming back from behind in games. We should not have to go on these late season runs to barely miss the playoffs. Underachieving with all the talent that we have on defense. Everything on offense, from the flat routes, the hitches, abandoning the run. And at the end of the day, it's the healthy defenses, mind you, the healthy defenses that are putting us behind in games. I mean, you would have sworn yesterday that every single time the 49ers got the ball, they had it in prime position. And they did, more often than not. They did. The average start of drive for the 49ers was at their own 42-yard line. That's good field position right there. You want to know why? Because the offense can't get anything going and the defense can't get off the field. And players, it's not just the fan base. It's players, past and present, have been saying this about Mike Tomlin for years now. Why do you think, and even if you think I'm crazy for making this overreaction, because after a game like yesterday, I really do see Mike Tomlin having his first losing season as a head coach. And that's my overreaction, okay? I know I said, well, it's week 1, any team can have a bad game, but the more and more I thought about it over, the rest of yesterday, and the more that I thought about it, it's like, you know what? No. It's not just week 1. This is a recurring pattern for the Pittsburgh Steelers that's been going on for years now, and it's been swept under the rug because of a Hall of Fame quarterback, because of elite talent on offense, and a rising star in TJ Watt that we needed to build around on defense. This is a reflection of coaching that has gone stale. But like I was saying before, Steeler fans, ask yourself this question. Why do you think that the San Francisco 49ers had more continuity than us yesterday? Why do you think that CMC was the bulk of the offense, and they ran, not him in particular, but they ran the ball a collective amount of 34 times yesterday. And Brock Purdy only passed the ball 29 times total. Because they have a balanced attack on offense. Kyle Shanahan is a balanced attack type of coach. That's how his system goes. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. Brock Purdy did what he needed to do. But we're talking about a guy that was Mr. Irrelevant last year. He's anything but irrelevant right now. And it's not like he was a world beater yesterday. Obviously he did well enough to win. But it's not like every single time he was going to take a shot down the field. It's not like he did anything mind-blowingly great yesterday. He just did what he needed to do because he knew that the Steelers couldn't generate a pass rush, which is inexcusable considering you got TJ Watt coming in on the right side, and he got all 3 sacks yesterday for us. Considering we have a newly extended Alex Highsmith, who had 14.5 sacks last year, and now you got a guy in Nick Herbig who can generate pressure as well. And all Brock Purdy had to do was just take a sweet time in the backfield because he knew he was going to face very little pressure yesterday. It's coaching. That is on coaching. That has nothing to do with, okay? It has very little to do with the talent. It has more to do with the coaching. Because at the end of the day, Tomlin is the guy that's calling the shots on defense. And maybe I was wrong with saying that, this was not a Mike Tomlin team that was on the field yesterday. Because, you know what? This was a Mike Tomlin team on the field. They're soft. They settle. They're content with the bare minimum. I saw no enthusiasm, no fire under this team's ass whatsoever yesterday afternoon. And it's like, 49ers are a good team. We're just going to get our touchdown and, the 65,000 plus at Heinz Field, they're going to get their money's worth. That's on coaching. Straight up on coaching. And you know what's going to happen, right? While we only have had 3 head coaches over the course of the last 55 years, which sounds incredible, okay? And it is. It's also it's a big double-edged sword at the end of the day. Because it shows complacency. And that's what I mean at the beginning of this video when I said that the Chief used to say same old Steelers. You cannot play this same type of defense Monday night against the Cleveland Browns on primetime. You just can't. If I see anything that is remotely like it, even if we do win, it's going to be a long season. You know what's going to happen. We're not going to fire Tomlin. We don't fire coaches. And even if the Rooney Rule didn't exist, which, let's face it, Steeler fans, the Rooney Rule is the only reason Tomlin even still has a job. Okay? If he was anywhere else, he'd have been fired by now. I swear. I wholeheartedly mean that. There are things I like that Tomlin does, but a great example of stuff that I hate that he does was yesterday afternoon. Literally the entire game. We're not going to fire him because of the stupid Rooney Rule. We're not going to fire him because Artie II is too complacent and he's too stubborn to fire coaches. He don't have a backbone to stand up to coaches. And we're just going to wait for his contract to expire. Wouldn't you think that with the offense that we had and that we've had over the course of the past half decade, Don't you think that would warrant a firing for at least one person on the coaching staff, regardless of how you feel about him? I think it would. But we don't do that over here. That's why it's going to be a long season for us. And that's why I'm saying it. If Tomlin's going to have his first losing season, this is the season to do it. Good job, Pittsburgh Steelers. All that noise you made in the offseason, that outstanding draft that you had, it's going to be for nothing. Because you just can't get out of your own damn way. And that's all I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think about Tomlin down in the comments below. This is Mac checking on out for the night. Have a good one, everybody.